What's up, everyone? My name is BQ, and I'm back. It's been a while. 3D printers. That's a resin one, that's a FDM one. But 3D printers, they have definitely, definitely become way bigger in the public eye than they have even a year ago, even 2 years ago when they were going through their first big boom. But I've found that you kind of get two different camps of 3D printers right now. You get your really cheap, really crappy that you kind of need to do a lot of things to fix, or maybe sometimes they're fine, but you usually need to do a lot of things to fix them. Um, your really cheap Crealities and Wanos and all those cheaper brands, or you get the really big expensive Bamboo Labs and Ultimakers, even though they don't really sell to the public too much any longer, but Ultimakers and all those. And I feel like something's been lost in 3D printing. Now, where did 3D printing come from? 3D printing came from the original patents expiring on 3D printing technologies, and people, normal people, not even technically engineers, some of them were engineers, but mostly normal people, just kind of wanting one, not being able to buy one because at the time printers cost hundreds of thousands of dollars, and thinking, I mean, it still probably cost a couple grand back then for, stepper motors and bearings and belts and stuff. These things weren't commodity back then. These things didn't cost 5 cents on AliExpress. They were still expensive, but they were achievable by an average person to some degree. And that RepRap community, while it's still going strong, I feel like people have, the sentiment around RepRap has kind of gone away, because people now think either I need to buy the cheapest thing possible, and or you have to buy the most expensive thing possible, or it's not worth buying anything. And now this isn't broadly true. However, if you go to YouTube or anywhere really, and you look at 3D printer content, you don't see nearly as much of you don't see the kind of weird, shitty looking homemade printers that you used to. I mean, you do still see them, but nowhere near like you used to. You used to be able to go there and every week someone else was coming up with a new design, and yes, you still see people going on about their HBots or Core XY designs, but you don't see the passion and the love that you used to, and that's sad. And that rubbed off on me a bit, because you go online and you watch videos from 3D Printing Nerd and all them, and it's always expensive printers, Bamboo Labs and multi-color prints, and things actually come out looking awesome, and you think, well, shit, I've just got that piece of shit. I can't do anything with that now. But really, I lost what 3D printing was and why I loved 3D printing, and I need to pick that back up a bit, I think. So that's why this over here it's rather large. It's half a meter wide and squared. But this is a relatively simple, just I don't even know there's no specific standard style for this, but I mean the old what were they called now? The people who used to own Thingiverse, whatever their company was. This is, I think, that standard kind of design with it's not fancy Core XY or anything like that, but it's got a motor on here. You can move the XY around, or it can move X around or Y around, or whatever you want to call it. And then there's a big motor here. So no, technically you can't go as fast as a Voron or any of those. And I mean, okay, Voron is a good example of even custom made and homemade printers starting to become and feeling unobtainable. If you look at a Voron, the parts list is insane. Where I live in South Africa, you can't buy duet boards, at least not without importing one. And importing one is, you can't just buy a duet board here like you can in the States. I've still got probably 3 or 4 Ramps boards. I mean, when was the last time people actually genuinely thought about using a Ramps board? Everything's duet now, and I realized you don't have to do that. You don't have to have it all be amazing and everything. I mean, this is where 3D printing came from. This is its roots, and I feel like it shouldn't be lost. That printer over there, I built. I mean, there's some design there from an i3. The X mechanism is mostly i3, but the rest of it's mostly custom. The extruder was downloaded off of Thingiverse because it works. Back in the day before Printables was the meta. And I got tired of feeling inadequate because, that's been a workhorse of a printer for pushing 10 years now. Probably more like 8 years now. And I mean, I still print things, and no, they've got some slight issues here and there. There's a bit of stringing and a bit of Z-wobble or extruder inaccuracies, but you know what? It's still a printer that I built, and I don't want to ever lose the magic that came from watching that thing turn on the first time and actually do its first Benchy. I've got a row full of Benchies on my cabinet, and I don't want to lose the magic of, will this Benchy come out a little bit better than the last one? And it's great that technology has developed and gotten better, and 3D printing is getting better. But where, for me, your ultra high-end 3D printers are still not really obtainable, this is what I do. And it works, and it's still great. And I mean, I've still got aspirations of making it better. And kind of picking off what the big guys have done, but people mustn't forget where 3D printing came from, because ultimately where it came from is where it's going, in the hands of the community. Mustn't lose that. Thank you. Bye bye.